Well, Penny, it's so good to see you.
Great to see you too.
This is a programme where your husband feels very comfortable. He's
Very
a friend
at
of the
home.
show, so it's really nice to have you join us as well to talk about your memoir. And I would imagine the life that you've led and the life that you're leading as the wife of Sir Rod Stewart, you've been asked to put pen to paper many times. Why now?
Well, I think it's that turning point that all us women have at the age of around 50, when the menopause hits in. For me, that was a very, very scary, quite traumatic moment because I didn't realise it was a menopause. I thought I was going through a depression of sorts.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of lockdown. And my GP at the time put me on antidepressants. And then it was my loose women gang. They said, no, this is menopause. And then you start looking into that and you listen to other women's stories. And when they're in the turmoil of that, they feel like it's the end. And they're grabbing at straws and solutions, and they feel that their worth is no longer. But in fact, once you come through that, you feel that you can reinvent yourself and find that you have so much more to give back. So it felt like I suddenly realised who I was all along, and so I felt ready to write the book.
Yeah, ready to write the book and reflect on what you've done, are doing and plan to do. The opening to your memoir is quite hard-hitting. It's almost like you get the worst part of your life out of the way first, and this is the opening chapter talking about a sexual assault when you were a schoolgirl. You were on your way walking to school. Why did you want to open the book with that?
My decision on becoming a special police constable at 50 has been risen quite a few times, and I've sort of found it difficult to answer, why policing? And I was like, well, why not? But actually, there must be something deeper to that reason. Yes, I was involved in a TV show that allowed me to see what it was like on the front line working with regulars and specials, but why actually decide to take it up? So I did do a bit of soul-searching, and through writing the book, it's been a bit of therapy, I guess, and backtracking to some of the traumas that I went through when I was 12 on the way to school and attacked, and then later when I was 17 and starting my modelling career, going through another incident that was pretty harrowing, where I was drugged and assaulted. And I was a victim, a young girl, and preyed upon by male predators. And justice never was served. So somehow I feel like I'm there to help my community and look out for women on the streets of the City of London.
Because you're a special police constable, as you said, it started as part of a reality TV show, and it's something that you thought, actually, this is a bit of a passion project, a way to give back to the community. And, you went through the same training as everyone else and passed out, and you now operate with the City of London Police in the Square Mile.
Yes.
And just in terms of, going back to that attack when you were 12, you're now a woman in her 50s, fulfilling this role. We talk about the safety of women and girls a lot now. In fact, this current government have talked about it being an epidemic and something that they want to halve. What is it like out there at the moment for women and girls? Because it feels like not much has changed from when you were 12 in terms of girls being safe on the streets.
Well, I feel when I talk to a lot of women, which is the great thing about doing something like a book, is you have that platform to be able to talk about your experiences, which in turn people relate to, because sadly it does happen to a lot of other people, hence why someone like me, because it's not a journey just that I've gone through, it's got a journey that so many have gone through. And I think it was much more prevalent in my day, almost like, yes, well, that happens, and, well, you're a girl and they're men, and,
Just forget about it, move on.
Yeah, whereas obviously it's a different world we live in now.
In terms of other topics that are picked up in your book, obviously policing a big part of your life now. But I know a lot of people will be picking up your book to find out what life is like with Sir Rod Stewart. The encounters I've had with him here on the programme, he is full of energy. Yeah, he's a cheeky one. He is full of energy, still touring. And, you know, as we speak, he's off in Vegas as part of his residency. And I wonder if there's part of you as a rock star's wife who thought, right, we're getting married and at some point we will have a normal family life and he won't be on tour so much. But it doesn't seem that that's the case. What is life like as the wife of a rock star?
Well, like you said, when we first met, it wasn't so much eventually there will be retirement down the line. You know, I just thought, well, because of big age gap, it will naturally, you know, he will be working less as he gets older. But
he's like Benjamin Button.
Absolutely. I mean, 80 and there's no stopping him. I think he always often talks about slowing down. And it's sort of, I think it's partly my job to help kind of gear that into place because as much as it's wonderful that myself and our kids can go and join him on tour, it do get to a point where you just want to spend a little bit more quality time at home. But you know what? He absolutely loves every second of it. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to take that from him.
He did say that he watched Sky News while playing with his train set. Is that true?
Can't say train set.
Oh, what do I have to say?
It's a railway model
Railway
layout.
model. I imagine a big screen in the corner of the room with the model railway in front of it. Is that what happens at Stuart Towers?
The layout itself probably spans 3 times the size of this studio. it was on...
So multiple screens then with Sky News on to cover the entire track.
Well, there's one with Celtic on.
Oh, of course.
And then there's one with Sky. And then...
I'm getting a real insight into At Home with the Stewarts. Another difficult episode that I want to talk to you about because you're being so open in your memoir was the scandal surrounding Gregg Wallace and MasterChef. And when Gregg Wallace was embroiled in that, again, Sir Rod Stewart came out to your defence, whereas you sit calmly and, let it all play out. He leaps to your defence as your husband. And he talked about you being bullied by Gregg Wallace on that programme. Well, we know what's happened with Gregg Wallace now. He has been removed from that programme. What was that experience like? Because we know TV can be a tricky place where certain characters and egos are allowed to act unchecked, as it were. We hope that the industry is changing, but as we know, that's not always the case. How do you reflect on that whole episode and your small part in it? Because, all women's voices are important and need to be heard. How do you reflect on that?
Well, from going back to the instance when I was younger, I wasn't brave enough at the time when I was 17, to go forward with that information about the details that had happened to me. And it just highlights how important now it is to speak out. And if you hear 1 or 2 people coming forward, there's more gravitas to the story and the investigation, the more people can come on board. So even though it seemed sort of quite minor what I had experienced compared to some of the other accusations, it was still vital that added little bit of detail to create that full investigation. Therefore, the actions that were taken. Being bullied as a child, I've learned from that. That's stood me in good stead moving forward, because then there's bullies in adulthood that you have to contend with, and somehow you recognise it. Maybe you recognise it sooner and earlier than other people around you might recognise it. But I've always been about looking after everybody, and women looking after women, supporting others, especially the underdogs. And I think in a community like working on a TV programme, you feel like it's a collaboration. I didn't feel like I was supported in that moment. I felt ashamed and belittled by the way Gregg Wallace had treated me, but equally I felt disappointed that the production company hadn't come to my rescue, basically. So there is a long way to go, but just by people coming forward and being honest about their experiences, I think will help in the long term.
Well, Penny, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming in to see us, and congratulations on the book. As you said, you'll be working on the streets of the City of London on publication day, but hopefully there'll be a glass of wine or something waiting for you when you get home. And, of course, pass our best on to our #1 fan, Sir Rod Stewart.
I certainly will. Thank you, Sarah, so much for having me.
Really good to see you.
Thank you.
Penny Lancaster talking about her memoir, Someone Like Me. Well, we did approach Gregg Wallace to respond to those comments from Penny Lancaster. He has previously apologised to people he has hurt, saying back in July that he knows he has said things that have offended people. He has denied a specific allegation of unwanted touching. The BBC referred us to their statement from July, in which the corporation said, although the full extent of these issues were not known at the relevant time, opportunities were missed to address this behaviour both by the production companies running MasterChef and the BBC. We accept more could and should have been done sooner. We want to thank all those who took part in the investigation, including those who first raised concerns directly with the BBC in November last year. We apologise to everyone who has been impacted by Mr Wallace's behaviour. Banijay UK, the producers of MasterChef, told Sky News, we are extremely sorry to anyone who has been impacted by any inappropriate behaviour by Gregg Wallace whilst working on our shows and felt unable to speak up at the time or that their complaint was not adequately addressed. Ways of reporting concerns whilst working on our productions, protocols around behaviour and training for both cast and crew have improved exponentially in recent years, and we constantly review welfare procedures across our productions to ensure that they are as robust as they can be.